or just like a couple of pages. But it caught my attention. I looked it up and I was like, okay, this seems like a cool book. It's a horror book. Obviously, it's called The Haunting, so it's like, definitely a horror book. Now, I haven't read too many horror books, but this one definitely sticks out to me a lot. Like, I feel a lot of the horror books are just kind of meant to scare you, and whether that's in books or in movies or series, it's usually just like everybody dies. I don't know, however, this book, it has a very, I want to say happy ending. I don't think happy ending is the right word for it though, but it definitely reaches a conclusion that is satisfying. And this book has made me cry multiple times throughout. I'm thinking about a way how I can explain this without spoiling anything. But there's, like, halfway through, there is another character introduced. And it's not like romantic or anything like that, but this character is very caring and very, I think I can say that this character is able to see ghosts. I don't think that's a spoiler, but she will help our main character, Leigh Harker. She will help her get to the bottom of this haunting, and they get very close and personal and it gets very emotional at times. So I think any book that is capable of like conveying or able to like provoke emotions, I think that's good. Like, and same goes for like music and art. Anything that makes you feel is good, I think. So I think I will just read the back of it just quickly, and then I want to get into like the first chapter of it. Get into the first chapter of the book and read a little bit. Maybe if there's people out there who like the first chapter of it and want to decide to pick it up themselves, I think you definitely should. In the first chapter, it really, really dives into some of the scary stuff right away, which I find unusual in books and movies as well. Like, they just kind of ramp up the hauntings and the scary stuff until it gets to a point where it's like the conclusion happens. And this book just kind of does it very differently, I think. Sometimes the dead reach back. Leigh Harker's quiet suburban home was her sanctuary for more than a decade, until things abruptly changed. Curtains open by themselves, radios turn on and off, and a dark figure looms into the shadows of her bedroom door at night, watching her, waiting But as something outside my bedroom creeps nearer, just an inch, enough to reinforce its presence, to make sure that I won't begin to doubt my senses. I don't dare avert my eyes, nor am I foolish enough to move, not even breathe. These straitjacket blankets will betray me. They will rustle. It will hear. I do not know what will happen then, and I do not want to learn. My heart is so loud that I wish I could squeeze my fist around it just to make it go silent. Old oak branches, stripped bare by winter, jostle for space outside my window. They cut through the moonlight like knives, turning it into a lattice of sharp angles, a broken shimmering glass discarded across my carpet and speckled up upon my walls. And over it, the 4 or 5 slivers of light that touch the dark shape reveal only tiny pieces of it, forcing me to glimpse it as though my eye were pressed to a keyhole. It fills my doorway. Arms hang at its side. It gives the impression of grayness with a tinge of sickly green, skin or clothing impossible to tell. I cannot make out where the face ends and the hair begins, but there is hair, and it is long. I cannot see a mouth. Its eyes dominate its features, round circles, too large, unnaturally huge, like an owl's. In retaliation, I swung too far the other way, not using it as a glorified paperweight, as I had initially intended, but plugging it into my never-used landline as though that might justify the indulgence. It turns out that may have been the most vital waste of money of my life. I leave my mobile downstairs at night to prevent distractions. That antique rotary is the only phone on the second floor of my house. My eyes stay fixed on the empty doorway as I rise from the mattress. My knees feel flimsy, as though they are built out of cardboard, unused to holding my weight. I reach through shards of light toward the phone. A thudding footfall echoes from the hall. As I tired of my bathroom, my fingers touch wood, and I draw my eyes away from the gaping archway at my back. The phone's dial is a circle of faded numbers. I lift the wooden earpiece, moving gingerly to stop the cradle from making a noise. The dial tone greets me, and I press it against my chest, muffling it, agonizingly aware of how far sound travels in the dead of night. My first impulse is to call my sister, but she lives hours away. The only help she could possibly offer is to tell me to call the police, so I cut it straight to that second choice. All that matters at this moment is to not be alone in my house. Do not be trapped here with the something. My finger nestles into the well-worn metal circle and drags it around, the dial clicking in fragments. It will make a terrible ringing noise if I let it loose, so I don't. Easing it back down to its starting position while I let air hiss through my teeth. Then I repeat the process. The window above my desk was left open several inches. The night is bitingly cold, but I cannot sleep without fresh air. A breeze comes through, and vulnerable without my kilts, I shudder as its questing fingers warm through the gaps in my nightgown. The third number has been turned, and as I ease the dial back to its starting position, I raise the receiver to my ear. It rings. I wrap one hand around the mouthpiece as I turn to face the doorway once again. The something stands there. Only its flickering eyes are visible. Some part of it, its arms, maybe, shift. What is your emergency? The words come from the receiver, and I want to beg her to be quieter, but my voice has become a solid thing, frozen in my throat. A lump I cannot breathe past. My fingers are slick on the wood. My eyes burn too dry, and when I blink, suddenly they are too wet. Hello. The woman is patient, moderated, too serene for the situation. What is the nature of your emergency? Help me, I want to say, but any noise will be the beginning of my end. That something watches, unblinking, hyper-focused, and I am cornered. Again, the voice on the phone speaks. Hello. My mouth opens a fraction wider. The blockage in my throat suffocating, my body set on fire by adrenaline, even as fear grounds me to the spot. As though being still might save me. As though it doesn't know exactly where I am. Then something in the doorway tilts its head. I still cannot see its mouth, but I can sense it opening, and a terrible noise comes out. Hello. It is an imitation of what a human might sound like. The word is corrupted, a mockery of the patient woman with horrible speed, terrible power, its eyes as round as twin moons boring into me, and I finally find enough voice to scream. The back of my legs hit the desk chair. I fall to the floor, sparks of pain rising from my elbow, but immaterial in the face of what is before me. The something stands where I stood just a second before, the shattered light bringing it into terrible resolution, and I wish it had stayed in the fog of shadows. The head rotates, the pupilless eyes turning to stare down at me. I'm sprawled, braced on my heels and my lower back and my elbows, and hyper aware of every vulnerable part of my body. My stomach, my inner thighs, my face, they are all turned toward the creature, exposed, and I may as well be offering myself up as a sacrifice. The something's body rotates to match its immobile head. I scramble backward, feet kicking at the smooth floor, dust sticking to my palms, desperate to gain space from the shaggy thing looming above me. The receiver hangs, one end resting on the floor, the other suspended by the twisting line, and in the unnatural still of night, the voice floats from it. Hello? Hello? The something's voice is broken. It might be laughing, but the sound is as inhuman as the words. Hello? 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 My shoulder blades hit the closet. I reach behind myself, arms stretching above my head as I blindly seek the doorknob. It clicks as it opens. I use my heels to kick my way inside. The circular eyes flash. With no pupil and no iris, it's impossible to tell whether it's looking at me or looking through me. I pull the door closed and hear the latch click. Jackets and dresses and pants cluster around me, pressing on me, as though to smother me. Now there's only one source of light, a line of it, marking the shallow gap between the doors and the floor. The something's footsteps are loud again. They thud, painstaking, as it drags itself closer to my hiding space. I cannot let it open the doors. My fingers are numb as they search for handles, but the inside of the wood is bare. There is no purchase. A shadow cuts through the line of light at my feet. Metal groans faintly. I can picture its hands, heavy and disfigured, resting on the doorknobs. I thrust my fingers, palm up, through the gap, under the doors. The wood is rough there, raw, a shortcut the manufacturer thought would never be noticed. It grates on my fingers as I curl them up, gripping the base of the doors, desperate to hold them where they are. Wood flexes. The line of light spears upward as the intruder tries to draw the doors apart. My shoulder muscles burn as I pull against it, and the vertical line of but fear both swells and muddles the sensation, making it indistinct. I could have been cut. I could have lost a finger. In the dark, it's impossible to tell. I bundle my hands together under my chin, squeezing them, and I feel hot wetness seeping between the clammy skin. The line of light underneath the door is speared through by nails. Long nails, ragged nails, creep their way through the gap, exploring the rough wood, touching over the areas where my own fingers were. My eyes are flooded, and I tilt my head back. Jackets and dresses lying cool against my flaming skin. Hands clutched under my throat, and knees pulled up against my chest. The nails disappear from underneath the door. I already know where they will go next. There is no escape this time as the something reaches for the handles. I shimmy backward, letting the rows of clothing fall in front of my face. They cannot hide me. My legs are still exposed, and no matter how tightly I pull them against my body, they will be the first to be grabbed as the something drags me out of my hiding place. The closet doors creak as they drift open. Through the shutters made of clothes, I can barely see the entity poised outside. A drop of warm blood falls from my palm and lays heavy on my forearm. My view is distorted by wools and cottons, loose threads too close to my eyes that they blur, creating layers of spiderwebs between me and the thing outside. I wish they were denser, dense enough to block out its awful eyes. They are its only visible part. Its form is painted all in ashen gray as the moon through the window backlights it. It fills the closet entrance. Its arms spread wide as they hold the doors open. Its shaggy hair lying heavy around its form. Its shoulders hunched as it stares down at me. I am calcified to the wall, too afraid to even close my eyes. The intruder looms closer, rising even higher above me. The doors groan. The band of light grows narrower, tightening into a ribbon, and then a sliver, and then nothing at all as the doors snap closed. It is inside the closet with me, in that dark, narrow hole, close enough that I should have been able to feel its warmth. Close enough that relaxing my position, even just slightly, would force my heel or my elbow to touch it. It makes no noise, but I can feel its presence. The air is heavier, reeking of musty age and unwashed floors, and that terrible something else. My bleeding hand throbs with every pulse. The smell is overwhelming, and I cannot think, cannot breathe, do not dare move. The jacket to my left shifts, the wire hanger clinking as it turns on the rod. My wide eyes stare into nothing. My back aches from the post I'm forced to hold. But I cannot relax, not even a fraction. I instinctively know that if I touch the intruder, it will be over. And the intruder is so close. It exhales its rattling breath directly in my ear. I can all but taste its dead skin. I burst forward in a spasm of energy that surprises even me. My hands hit the closet doors as they bang open as I charge through. There is no time to let my eyes adjust to the stabbing moonlight. No time to look over my shoulder. I run, bare feet slapping the floor. The phone's receiver twists on its cord as I pass it. The screaming faces on my kilt track me with their distorted eyes. But I am at the bedroom door. Through the opening, and my shoulder glances off the wall as I twist myself down the hallway. Footsteps boom in my wake. as I near them, trusting my familiarity with the house to judge my footfalls. The first stair finds its mark, then the second and the third. And I'm flowing downwards so rapidly that I barely glance off each step. My feet sting as I come to a sudden halt on the lower floor. I swing to put my back to the wall. The stairwell is impenetrable. Only the closest 2 steps are visible, while everything above is perfect black. The air no longer tastes foul. I am alone. Okay, so I hope that everybody enjoyed that or found it relaxing / scary. I think I will have to cut out some parts of this because there's someone revving his engine outside or something.